Hi, I'm Ishreez, and this is Bowie. Welcome to our classroom. In this video, we will discuss a Catholic perspective on different types of moral law. Catholics believe that God is the source of all goodness. So in this video, I will discuss the relationship between God's objective moral views and our human subjective moral views. Check it out. It's Ethics, Brah. Thomas Aquinas was a prominent Catholic theologian who lived in the 13th century and wrote on matters of faith and morals. In his written work known as the Summa Theologiae, he recognizes 4 types of law. These are the eternal law, the divine law, the natural law, and the human law. For Thomas Aquinas, the eternal law refers to God's mind. As stated, God is the source of all goodness, so God's mind and God's will reflects universal objective moral law, and that is the eternal law. It is God's will. The eternal law is basically the moral principles that God considers to be good. Now, how do Catholics understand God's eternal law? Well, God reveals God's eternal law through the divine law and through the natural law. Now, the divine law is basically God's law revealed through scripture. And that includes the old law, which is the Old Testament, and the new law, which are the teachings of Jesus. Now, natural law is a bit more complicated because it refers to the laws that God has inscribed into our nature. There are some moral issues that are not really analyzed in scripture, so we need to tune in to the natural law to be able to navigate them. Natural law refers to our rational capacity to understand right and wrong by studying our nature. It assumes that God has encoded God's eternal law within our hearts, and it is up to us to decipher that code and to act according to it. The process of deciphering that is complicated and will be discussed in a later video. For now, all you have to know is that the natural law is God's eternal law inscribed in our nature. Now, it is important to note that the divine law and the natural law, though different, cannot contradict each other. They complement each other because they are both a part of the same eternal law, of the same eternal truth. And if you have two things that are both objectively true, then they cannot contradict each other. They must complement each other. Thus, the divine law and the natural law are both complementary reflections of God's eternal law. Finally, the 4th type of law is the human law. This refers to laws that human beings themselves create to govern societies, institutions, and other people. They can also be a set of moral guidelines and rules of thumb that we create for ourselves. Some examples of human laws are the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights, the US Constitution, a state law banning the possession of guns, a local city ordinance, a school student handbook, and even a parent's curfew over their child. ¿Qué pasa, flaco? You can take the car, but be back by 9, okay? Those are all laws, rules, or guidelines generated by human beings. Now that we have defined all the laws, let's talk about the relationship between them. Let's see how the relationship between all 4 types of law flows. The eternal law is revealed through the divine and the natural laws, and hopefully that serves as the basis for human law. The idea, according to the Catholic Church, is for people to base their human laws on the correct interpretation of the divine and the natural law. By the way, the Catholic Church assists us in this process by providing us with what they believe to be the correct interpretation of the divine and natural laws. So Catholics are called to promote human laws that are based on the natural and the divine law, which cannot contradict each other, and which are in turn a reflection of the eternal law. So we should create human laws that reflect God's eternal law as revealed through the natural and divine laws. Now, this scheme is very much grounded in a Catholic worldview, but it is still useful for people who are not Catholic or not religious. Many non-theistic philosophies still believe that there are a set of universal objective moral principles that are somehow ingrained in our human nature, and through reason we can arrive at them. Immanuel Kant was one of those. Therefore, some non-religious philosophies believe that human beings should create human laws based on a secularized version of the natural law, and that secularized version of natural law still reflects universal moral principles. Overall, Aquinas' treatise on different types of laws is helpful for people of all religious persuasions because it helps all of us reconcile our individual subjective human laws with a universal set of objective eternal laws. His scheme is a pretty great contribution to the field of ethics. But what do you think of these concepts? Do you believe human beings can arrive at God's eternal law through the Bible and through human nature? Leave your comments below and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button and leave a comment below. For more introductory videos on ethics and other topics, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you around.